people, thank you guys so much for tuning into my channel. I am Darla and you are tuned into The 30 Journey. Guys, thank you so much for coming back with me on this video. I'm very excited to get into this particular topic because I know this is something that people struggle with, myself included. My biggest goal for 2019 is to focus. Your girl has self-diagnosed ADD and it is really hard for me to focus on one thing at a time. So I really want to express to you guys what I've been doing, what has been helping me, what has helped me along the way, what I will continue to do, and also just be able to continue to walk this walk when it comes to celibacy as well, because some of you have reached out to me in reference to what I do and how I'm doing that. So if you are interested in being more disciplined and being able to gain self-control, I hope this video blesses you and keep on watching. So one of the things that I told you guys is my main focus of 2019, it is to focus. My main focus is to focus. That is the goal for me when it comes to work, when it comes to my brand and building it, when it comes to going after my dream. I believe personally for me that this is the one thing that is going to set my dreams into overdrive. I am very disciplined in so many other aspects and areas of my life that I once was not. So to be at this point when it comes to other things, I have no doubt in my mind that I will be able to master this. And the same goes for you. My main weapon when it comes to really mastering and focusing is prayer. This comes first for me. Everything that I want to master in my life, I pray about. And I pray hard. I don't let up and I continue to pray on it. And it's so funny because when I am praying and I don't see anything really changing or happening, I'm just like, Lord, what is going on? And y'all, when I leave it alone, before I know it, there are things that are changing in my life that I see right before me. One of those key areas for me is waking up early every day. Well, every weekday and every work day. At the beginning of my journey, I remember, I was struggling and dealing with anxiety that was snowballing into depression. So of course it was harder for me to even get up and just wake up early and tackle the day and different things like that. That was something that I prayed about all the time, that I just would not let up on, because I know I wanted to be a morning person. I wanted to be able to be one of those people that just got their day started early. I have a whole video on this. I explained to you guys about the 5-second rule and the 5-minute rule, which are great game changers when it comes to self-discipline and control. So I suggest you watch that. I'll definitely link it below. It allows me to get up early in the morning and work on my dream. It allows me to get up early in the morning and give thanks to God for continuing to allow me to be able to do the things that I am doing now. Whether your desire is to wake up early, to flee from sexual urges, to focus more at work, to be able to focus more into your purpose, whatever it may be that you want to gain self-control and self-discipline in, please believe that prayer is the thing that sets things into motion. Please don't sleep on prayer, because y'all, I'm telling you, even if it does not look like anything is changing, I promise it is going to start setting things into motion. When it comes to sexual urges and things like that, guys, I know that there are a lot of people that struggle with that. I know that there are people that have issues with masturbation. I know that there are people that have issues with porn. This is an open community. I'm not the type of person to flee and not talk about those things. Like, we are gonna get into those things on this channel. I'm very transparent on my walk. I will definitely try to answer your questions as best as I can. But one thing that I really had to go ahead and do for myself was to give those things to God. Now, personally, I don't believe I had a real issue when it came to masturbation and porn and things like that, but it was things that God was showing me in it of why I had to give those things up, and I'm just being very transparent right now when it came to self-discipline and control, because that was something I could not always control. Even though it was a decision where I wasn't really feeling too convicted, I started to feel convicted. And the same goes for a lot of you. You might be doing those things and afterwards you might feel good as far as the flesh, but there is something within you, within your spirit, that does not. And a big part of that obviously is because it's pleasing the flesh. It's not pleasing what's going on internally that you could be fleeing and running away from. Why you feel like you always have to give into those desires to make you feel better about whatever is going on outside of that. I know a lot of people are really adamant about saying things like, well, I'd rather do this than to have sex with a whole bunch of different people. Completely understandable. I actually understand that. However, you got to learn the deeper issue, and the deeper issue is you cannot control your urges. If you are saying things like that and saying, well, that's better than me sleeping with such and such and such and such, well, if you know that sleeping with this person and that person is not good for you, then obviously there's a deeper issue there. The issue is your self-control. The issue is not being disciplined enough to be able to stop doing that without doing something else. Be completely honest and real with yourself when it comes to your sexual urges, and know that that is something that needs to be controlled as well. I know we live in a society that thinks that that is not to be controlled. That is something that just you do whatever you want to do because you're grown. Let me tell y'all something. That is a slippery slope when it comes to other aspects of your life. If you have that inkling within you that is saying that something about this is wrong, it's because it is. And if you don't listen to yourself, if you don't understand what awareness that you have, it continues to flee away from you. And you realize that you're starting to listen to more of the enemy than you're listening to God. You have to listen to your spiritual guides and know that it is not there to deter you and turn you wrong. It's so hard because we are humans and we want to listen to our bodies as opposed to listening to our minds and our souls. I'm not here to convict or condemn anybody about what you're doing. I just want you to be real with yourself. If that is something that truly is deterring you from your relationship with God, or, you know, really something that's been on your mind, this might be wrong or this might not be right for me, I'm telling you, there's a reason that it's happening. I would honor that reason. I truly would. And I would definitely connect with my creator to be able to flee from that. So one thing that worked for me was every time those moments presented themselves, it's time to connect with God. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna say. I don't know how I'm gonna feel in this moment, but I need you to guide me when it comes to this moment. And you have to pay attention to what he's telling you. Usually it's something that you're not gonna want to do. It usually always is. Usually that's kind of how I know that's something that I need to be paying attention to and I need to be listening to. And not only paying attention and listening to, something that I need to be obedient to. So if you really want to know how to break a soul tie, personally, what I did was connect with my creator and listen to what he was guiding me to do and to do it. A lot of people struggle with being disciplined in their finances. Hello. I did a lot of things that weren't healthy and weren't helpful when it came to really getting a grasp on my finances. And a lot of times something that we all do is we spend and we spend and we spend and we're like, we'll deal with the consequences later. Let me let y'all know, the bill is coming. The consequences are coming as well. You have to learn when to cut it off. And when it came to those things, I had to start planning out a budget. I had to start sticking to said budget, and I had to start making sure that I was tackling debt. That means giving up a lot of things. That means me not being able to purchase a lot of things. I told you guys that I will be thrifting this year. I told you guys that I'm very serious about tackling my finances, and as I go on in this journey, you better believe I will give you guys tips of what has been helping me and what continues to help me. And the dope part about this as well is that God has given me so much peace. I could be spazzing out about, you know, not being able to save as much as I would like I could really be like, oh my gosh, like how am I going to eliminate like this debt? And I don't. I'm really at a place of peace when it comes to all of this. I know I may want it overnight, but that's not gonna happen. However, I know that I'm taking the steps that I need to take to eliminate this stuff, and I know that it's going to happen little by little. I have to trust the process, and so do you. But you also have to know that there is a process and there is work to be done. The best way to tackle this stuff is to really be disciplined enough to even make the spreadsheet, to make the budget, to make whatever it is that you need to make to be able to tackle what it is that you want to tackle. Because if you don't, guys, the consequences are going to be worse than the suffering that you may have to endure during the process. Doing the work now is going to make life so much better later on, and it's definitely easier to learn the lesson. So one last thing that I do want to express in this video about being disciplined in as well, it is health and wellness. So that is something that is very important to me now as well, and I really didn't think I would be able to be that girl that really was strict about her diet. It's so amazing to really be at that point in my life, because once again, that was something I prayed for. Next thing that I'm actually working towards when it comes to being disciplined in health and wellness, it is two things. It is fasting and it is building and just gaining a little bit of muscle. And I'm excited about it, but y'all, that is the hardest thing for me to do. I exercise, I eat pretty well, I have my cheat days, things like that. But when it comes to really building and like really being consistent with building, that is hard for me. That is something I'm definitely dedicating to do within the second quarter of this year. And I'm really going harder with it because I'm very proud of my body. I really am, but I just know that it could be so much better. But even with that said, when it came to health and wellness and being disciplined in what I ate and things like that, and even still to this day at times, just certain foods in general and eating them, the better you start to eat, the more your body starts to reject a lot of the stuff that it's not used to anymore. There were certain foods that I loved, but I knew did not love me. So I had to really give a lot of those foods up and eat it in moderation only. And I'm gonna tell y'all, that's how the enemy works in a lot of situations in our lives when it comes to certain things that we may enjoy and we may feel like, you know what, there's no real issue here. So what happens is, for me, I would eat certain things and I would feel fine for like the first 2 days. And then all of a sudden I would end up getting sick. And it's crazy how it happens that way, but that is exactly how the enemy works in our lives. We think that we've gotten away with something or something didn't affect us as much, but if you allow time to pass on, you see that there are always consequences for the actions that you know are wrong. And like I said, that is something that happens to all of us in our lives all the time with a lot of the choices that we make that we're not discipline in. And a lot of times, y'all, let me tell you something, the consequences are delayed not just for 2 or 3 days like the food was for me. It's delayed for years. It's delayed for months. It could be delayed for a very long time until we see how our actions and the things that we choose to do that we know are wrong affect our lives, and not just our lives, the people around us, the generations after us. And that is one of the biggest revelations for me when it comes to self-control and discipline. Understand that when God is giving you the conviction, acknowledge the conviction. Acknowledge, even if you don't decide to change the behavior right then and there, know that you're doing yourself a disservice. But because we are human, we have the choice of free will. The beautiful thing is that He's giving you an inkling on, if you make that choice, know that there is something that's going to come with it. But also know that following me and following my way is definitely going to lead you to where it is that you want and need to be. So beautiful people, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you were inspired by it, blessed by it, please also share it. I would so appreciate it. Also, follow me on social media to keep up with me. I have all of that information linked below. As always, remember to keep God first and to stay winning spiritually. Peace.